I didn't see it coming. At first, I thought I was imagining things. My heart was racing, my hands shaking slightly, but I convinced myself it was nothing. I had no reason to suspect him, no reason to doubt him. Not after everything we'd been through. Why are you acting like this? I asked, trying to sound casual. As I watched him, his face was unreadable, almost too calm. I was trying to ignore the tightness in my chest, the growing pit in my stomach. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he shifted his gaze away from me, focusing on the floor. That's when I knew something was off. I never knew it. Not really. But I felt it, deep in my gut. Hey, look at me, I said, this time my voice trembling. He finally met my eyes, and the look in his face, what was that? Guilt? Indifference? I couldn't tell. It didn't matter. Nothing mattered anymore. I swallowed hard, trying to keep my composure. What's going on? Just tell me the truth, please. He shifted uncomfortably in his chair, glancing around like he was looking for an escape. Then he let out a sigh, a long, exasperated sigh that made my stomach drop. I didn't want you to find out like this, he muttered, voice low. The world seemed to tilt. Find out what? He opened his mouth, then closed it. For a moment, he looked almost human, but that look was quickly replaced with something colder, sharper. Are you seeing someone else? I asked, almost too quietly. I hadn't meant to say it out loud, but there it was. The question that had been gnawing at me for weeks. He blinked, then shrugged, like it didn't matter. It's not what you think. I froze. Then what is it? He hesitated for a moment too long. I don't love you anymore, Lena. The words sliced through me like a blade. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move. What? No, you're lying. He didn't even flinch. I'm not. It's over. I've already moved on. I could feel the tears threatening to spill, but I held them back. How could you do this to me? My voice cracked on the last word. He stood up, avoiding my gaze. I didn't want to hurt you, but it was inevitable. You were always too much, too demanding. I felt the ground beneath me shift, like the world was crumbling. So, that's it, I whispered. Yeah, he interrupted, his tone flat. That's it. The silence that followed was suffocating. My heart felt like it was shattering, piece by piece. I stared at him, feeling my whole world break apart. And in that moment, I knew everything I had trusted, everything I had believed, had been a lie. I don't remember how I got home that night. I couldn't even remember the drive, just the dizzying haze of thoughts swirling in my head. I wanted to scream, to punch something, but I felt numb, like I was floating, detached from everything. When I walked through the door, the silence hit me. It felt like a physical weight pressing against my chest. I dropped my bag on the floor and collapsed onto the couch, burying my face in my hands. The tears came then, hot and uncontrollable. I hated him. I hated myself. How could I be so blind? All the signs were there, weren't they? How had I missed it? I heard my phone buzz from the kitchen counter, but I couldn't bring myself to answer it. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to hear anyone's sympathy or fake concern. I just wanted to scream into the emptiness of my apartment. A knock at the door. I didn't move. It came again, louder this time. Lena, it's me. A voice called from the other side. I didn't respond. Lena, he said again, his voice softer now, almost pleading. I know you're upset, but we need to talk. I closed my eyes, wishing for the earth to swallow me whole. The pain, the betrayal, it all felt like too much. He had destroyed everything. I had given him my trust, my heart, and he had shattered it like it meant nothing. I got up, walked over to the door, and opened it a crack. What do you want? I'm sorry, Lena. I never meant to hurt you. His voice cracked, and I almost felt a pang of sympathy, but I quickly shut it down. You never meant to hurt me? I repeated, the words bitter in my mouth. Then why did you? He hesitated. I don't know. I wasn't happy. Things changed. Things changed? I laughed bitterly, stepping back. You didn't even have the decency to tell me before everything fell apart. He started, but I cut him off. No, don't, I snapped, my voice shaking with a mix of anger and sadness. You don't get to do this. You don't get to just say you're sorry and think it'll fix everything. You took away everything I believed in. He stared at me, eyes pleading, but I couldn't look at him anymore. I didn't want to. I never asked for this, you know. I never wanted this, I said, my voice low now, almost to myself. I didn't ask for you to betray me. I didn't ask to be treated like this. He opened his mouth to speak, but I stopped him with a shake of my head. Just go. I can't listen to you right now. He stood there, torn between staying and leaving, before finally turning away. The door clicked shut behind him, but the weight in my chest didn't lift. I sank back onto the couch, burying my face in my hands again. How could I let this happen? How could I let someone I loved destroy me like this? But then, something shifted. A flicker like a spark trying to catch fire. I wasn't going to let this break me. I couldn't. I wasn't weak. I couldn't stay here, lost in this pain, drowning in my own misery. He wanted me to fall apart. He thought I would. I wasn't going to let him win. I wasn't going to let this be the end. I didn't expect to see him today, but there he was, standing right in front of me, as if nothing had happened. His eyes met mine, and I could feel the weight of everything crashing down on me again. I didn't say anything at first. I couldn't. Every part of me wanted to scream, to let out all the anger and hurt that had been building inside since the night he shattered my world. But I didn't. I couldn't let him see that he still had any control over me. You, I finally spat, my voice shaky but determined. How dare you show your face here? He didn't even flinch. His expression was cold, almost detached. He looked at me like I was nothing more than a passing inconvenience. I didn't come here to fight, he said flatly, shifting his weight from one foot to the other. I just wanted to what? I cut him off, my hands clenched into fists at my sides. Tell me it was all a misunderstanding? That you didn't ruin my life on purpose? He didn't answer. Instead, he just stared at me, his eyes unreadable. The silence was suffocating. Every part of me wanted to lash out, to demand answers, to make him feel the way I felt, empty, betrayed, worthless. But something in me held back. Part of me wanted to remain dignified, to not give him the satisfaction of seeing how deeply he'd hurt me. I don't need your pity, I said, my voice low but steady. I'm not some fragile thing that you can break and fix when it's convenient for you. I'm not here to fix anything, he replied. And there it was, the emptiness in his voice, the lack of any real emotion. I thought it'd be easier if we talked. I laughed bitterly. Easier? You think this is about ease? He sighed and ran a hand through his hair, avoiding my gaze. Look, I didn't want this to happen. I never meant to hurt you. But things just happened. Things just happened, I repeated, feeling the anger building again. No, you chose this. You chose to betray me. Don't act like it was some accident. He stayed silent, his lips pressed together in a thin line. I could feel the fury rising inside me, but I took a deep breath, willing myself to stay calm. I'm not going to beg for answers from you, I said, each word sharp as a knife. I won't beg for anything. Not your apology, not your pity. I'm done. He opened his mouth to respond, but I held up a hand. I don't want to hear it. You've already said enough. I could see the smallest flicker of regret in his eyes, but it was too late. It didn't matter now. Not anymore. You ruined everything, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. But I'll be fine. I'll survive this. I always do. He looked like he was about to speak again, but I turned and walked away, not bothering to look back. I wouldn't let him crush me. I wouldn't let him win. Not this time. I sat there, staring out the window, as the city buzzed below me. It was a beautiful evening, one of those nights where the air was crisp, and the world seemed to move slower, as if giving me time to breathe. But I wasn't breathing. I wasn't feeling anything except the weight of the decision pressing down on me. I hadn't talked to him since that day. The betrayal still lingered, but now I was left with a different kind of weight, the choice. I could either let this crush me or I could rise. But could I really rise? Could I truly walk away from the anger and the hurt? Or would I forever be trapped in the need for revenge? Lena, you've got to stop doing this to yourself. My best friend Mia's voice cut through my thoughts. She'd been here, listening to me ramble for the past hour. But even her soothing voice couldn't calm the storm in my chest. I know, I muttered, dragging my fingers through my hair. I don't know what to do. I want to hurt him the way he hurt me. But I'm not that person. Or am I? Mia leaned forward, her brow furrowed in concern. Are you really asking me if you should go down that path? Lena, I get it. I do. But what's revenge going to do for you? I bit my lip, trying to hold back the frustration. It'll make me feel better. It'll make him regret what he did. It's the only thing that makes sense right now, she sighed, shaking her head. Maybe, but it's not going to heal you. It's not going to change what he did. It's only going to drag you deeper into this pain. I wanted to scream, to tell her she didn't understand. She hadn't been there, hadn't felt the heartbreak I'd felt. But I didn't say anything, because deep down, I knew she was right. I thought about him, his face, the way he looked at me with cold, empty eyes, his indifference. That was the worst part, the complete lack of regret. He didn't care. I knew that now. I looked back at Mia. What if I can't let it go? You can. You have to. Her words were firm, but kind. Holding on to this, it's only hurting you. You deserve better than that. She was right. I knew it. But part of me was still angry. Angry that he could destroy everything we had without a second thought. Angry that he had the power to hurt me like this and walk away untouched. But as I sat there, thinking about the future, something shifted. I didn't want to be the person who let bitterness and anger define me. I didn't want to become someone like him. I don't want to be broken, I whispered, more to myself than to Mia. She smiled softly, reaching across the table to squeeze my hand. You're not broken, Lena. You're stronger than this. I know you are. I took a deep breath, letting the words settle in my mind. Mia was right. Revenge wouldn't fix anything. It wouldn't heal me, and it wouldn't make me stronger. I didn't need him to regret anything. I needed to move on for myself. I'm done, I said, my voice steady now. I'm done holding on to the past. I'm going to rise above this. Mia's smile widened, and I felt a small spark of something inside me, a sense of peace I hadn't known in weeks. I had a choice, and I was going to choose me. I woke up that morning feeling different, not in some grand, transformative way, but enough to know that today wasn't going to be like yesterday. The weight I had carried for so long, heavy with hurt, with regret, with betrayal, felt lighter, just a little. Maybe it was because I had made a choice. I had decided not to let this define me. I stood in front of the mirror, eyes fixed on my reflection. I didn't look broken anymore, not as much. I still had the same face, the same eyes, but they were harder, sharper. I wasn't the same person I was a month ago. I had to keep reminding myself of that. The knock at the door startled me, pulling me out of my thoughts. Lena. It was Mia, her voice bright and full of energy. You ready? I grabbed my bag, forcing a smile. Yeah, I'm ready. She had been my biggest cheerleader since everything fell apart. She wasn't about to let me hide forever, which I appreciated. She had a way of pushing me just enough, no pressure, just encouragement. We spent the afternoon at a local park, talking about everything and nothing. I found myself laughing, the sound feeling foreign but good. It was the first time in a while that I felt free. The world wasn't closing in on me anymore. You're doing good, you know, Mia said, watching me as we sat on a bench. You've come a long way. I shifted, suddenly feeling a little awkward. I don't know if I'm really there yet. Mia raised an eyebrow. It's a process, but you're already doing the hard part. You're out here. You're talking. You're living. Her words stuck with me. I realized that I was, in fact, starting to live again. The little steps I was taking were enough. Later that evening, I found myself at the gym, my heart pounding in a different way. It wasn't the heartache or anger this time. It was something stronger, something more empowering. I didn't know how to explain it, but I was fighting for myself now. Not against anyone else, but for me. I pushed through the workout, feeling my body growing stronger with every movement. Sweat dripped down my face, but I didn't care. I was alive, in control, and pushing my limits. As I walked back to my apartment later that night, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time, pride. I had done this. I had taken the first step. I didn't need to be anyone's second choice. I didn't need his validation. I was finally finding my own, and for the first time in weeks, I felt a flicker of hope. I walked into the office that morning with a different mindset. There was a fire in me now, one that hadn't been there before. I wasn't just showing up. I was going to own this place. Morning, Lena, my colleague Rachel said, her voice a little brighter than usual. She always greeted me, but today, there was something different about her tone. Maybe it was because I was actually holding my head up high. Morning, I replied, forcing a smile. But I wasn't just going through the motions anymore. I was here to make an impact. As the day went on, I found myself diving into my work like I never had before. It was like I could see everything clearly now, the projects, the deadlines, the people I had to impress. I was finally in control. Lena, you've been on fire lately, my boss, Matt, said later that afternoon. He leaned against my desk, looking genuinely impressed. I don't know what's gotten into you, but keep it up. You're really turning things around here. I nodded, trying not to show how much his words meant to me. Thanks. I'm just focused, I guess. He gave me a smile. Well, it's working. Keep it up. I could feel the eyes of my colleagues on me now. It wasn't just the work I was doing, it was the way I was carrying myself. There was a change in me, and I could see it in their expressions too. They were taking notice. I wasn't just the girl who had been knocked down. I was the one getting back up, and they respected that. Later, as I sat at my desk, my mind wandered for a moment. I thought about him, about the betrayal. A sharp pain shot through my chest, but I pushed it aside. I wasn't going to let him own my thoughts anymore. I had my own life to live now, and I was doing it on my terms. Hey Lena. Rachel popped her head over the cubicle. Dinner tonight? I think you've earned a celebration. I gave her a genuine smile. I think I'd like that. We made plans, and for the first time in a long time, I looked forward to something. Not because of anyone else, but because I was finally enjoying my own company again. I was realizing that I didn't need anyone to tell me I was worth something. I already knew. As the days passed, I kept pushing forward. I put more effort into my career, my personal growth, and my physical health. I started feeling like a new version of myself, stronger, more confident. I was no longer hiding behind the shadows of my past. I was stepping into the light. By the end of the week, I noticed something. A shift. People were taking me seriously. They weren't just acknowledging me. They were respecting me. And that felt better than any apology or revenge ever could. But as I watched him from across the room one afternoon, I saw it. He was faltering. He wasn't holding it together like he used to. The way he looked at me now, there was something almost desperate in his eyes. He didn't like that I was doing better without him. I couldn't help but feel a small, quiet sense of satisfaction. This was my time, now, my success, my happiness. And he was watching me rise. I couldn't stop thinking about it. The betrayal, the lies, the way he had left me, shattered and broken, without a second thought. I had convinced myself that moving on was the only choice, that I didn't need revenge, that I could rise above it all. But the truth? It lingered, gnawing at the edges of my mind. You're better than this, Lena, I whispered to myself as I stared out the window of my apartment. The city lights blurred together below, reminding me of everything I wanted to leave behind. But no matter how hard I tried to ignore it, I couldn't forget what he had done. I couldn't forget the coldness in his eyes when he walked away. A small voice inside me, one I hadn't listened to in a long time, kept whispering that maybe I needed something more. Maybe I needed to make him feel what I had felt. He thought he could destroy me, walk away, and move on with his life like nothing had happened. But I wasn't going to let him get away with it. My phone buzzed, pulling me from my thoughts. Mia's name flashed on the screen. I didn't pick up right away. I was still wrestling with the idea, still testing the waters, seeing if the anger had cooled enough for me to just let go. But it hadn't, and I wasn't sure if it ever would. I tapped the screen to answer. Hey, I said, trying to sound normal. You good? Mia asked. There was a hint of concern in her voice, and I knew she could tell something was off. I paused before replying. Yeah, just thinking. She didn't buy it. About him, huh? I sighed. Yeah, I don't know, Mia. I thought I was past this. I thought I could let it go. But every time I think about what he did, it eats you up. She finished for me. I get it. But Lena, revenge. It's not you. I leaned back against the couch, staring at the ceiling. Isn't it? Because that's exactly what I want to do right now. I want to make him pay for everything. Mia was quiet for a moment. Is that going to help you heal? Is it going to make you feel better in the long run? I didn't answer right away. I wasn't sure, but a part of me couldn't deny the satisfaction I imagined feeling. Making him regret it all, making him realize that I wasn't the weak woman he thought I was. That thought was tempting. So tempting. I don't know, I finally admitted. But I feel like I need to do something. I can't just let him get away with it. Mia exhaled sharply. Lena, you're stronger than this. You don't need revenge to prove that. But I wasn't sure I was strong enough yet. The rage inside me was still simmering, and it felt like a part of me wanted to feed it. I could feel it growing, that spark of defiance, the urge to reclaim what was taken from me. I know, I said quietly, but maybe Maybe I need to take control of this, in my own way. Mia fell silent, and I could tell she was unsure of what to say next. She wanted me to heal, to move on. But the truth was, the path I was walking wasn't as simple as forgiveness. I wasn't sure where I was headed, but something inside me had already begun to change. I saw him from across the street, looking different. His shoulders were slumped, and he had a look of desperation in his eyes, something I hadn't seen in him before. It was subtle at first, just a fleeting moment, but it was enough to make me pause. Lena, Mia's voice interrupted my thoughts as she walked up beside me. What's going on? I glanced at her, still watching him from a distance. He's having a rough time, I said, my voice neutral, but inside, I felt a strange sense of detachment. It was hard to explain. I wasn't happy about it, but it wasn't the satisfaction I thought I'd feel. Mia followed my gaze. You mean, karma's finally catching up? I nodded, still unable to tear my eyes away. I'd heard things, whispers at work, gossip among mutual friends. Things were unraveling for him. The job he'd boasted about losing its shine, the relationships he had, falling apart, one by one. It seemed like everything he touched was slipping through his fingers. I don't know, I said, shifting my weight from one foot to the other. I thought I'd feel something, satisfaction, maybe. But I don't. Mia studied me for a moment, her brow furrowed. What do you feel then? I took a deep breath. I feel detached, like it doesn't matter anymore. He doesn't matter anymore. But he hurt you, Lena, Mia said gently. He destroyed everything. I shook my head, the words not feeling as sharp as they once had. I know, but I'm not that person anymore. I'm not holding on to that pain. I've worked too hard to move on. She let out a small sigh. You're really different now. I've never seen you like this. I'm stronger now, I replied, finally turning away from the scene. I can't keep letting him take up space in my head. I spent enough time consumed by that anger, by the need for revenge. It's exhausting. Maybe it's just better this way, Mia said, her voice soft. You know, seeing him get what he deserves without you having to do anything. Maybe, I murmured, feeling a strange kind of calm wash over me. But it's not about him anymore. It's about me. I've taken back my life. That's all that matters. I could feel the weight of the past lifting piece by piece. The anger, the resentment, they weren't mine to carry anymore. And as karma continued to chip away at the person who had wronged me, I realized something important. I didn't need to keep fighting. I had already won. I had moved on. I didn't expect him to reach out again, but when I saw his name pop up on my phone, I couldn't ignore it. Part of me wanted to delete it, to pretend I didn't see it, but the other part, the part that had been holding on to this for so long, that part wanted this. Wanted closure, I answered, before I could change my mind. What do you want? His voice came through the phone, strained, like he'd been holding something back. Lena, I need to talk to you. I didn't say anything, just let the silence linger. He'd already said everything when he left me. What more could there be? I know I don't deserve it, he continued, but please, just let me explain. I wasn't sure what was worse, the fact that he still thought he could explain himself, or the fact that he thought I'd care enough to listen. Explain what? I asked, my voice steady, no trace of the broken girl he once knew. That you lied to me? That you used me? That you destroyed everything? There was a pause on the other end, a long, drawn-out silence before he spoke again. I made a mistake. I was selfish. I hurt you. And I'm sorry. His apology was empty. The words felt hollow, like he was saying them just to get me to forgive him. But I wasn't that girl anymore. I'm not here for your apology, I said, my voice cutting through the air. I'm here because I need you to know something. He was quiet, waiting, as if he didn't know what to expect. I'm done, I continued, each word heavy with finality. I'm done being the person you walked all over. I'm done carrying the weight of your mistakes. I'm done letting you make me feel small. I could hear him breathing heavily, and I could almost picture him standing there, trying to collect himself, but it didn't matter anymore. He didn't have control over me anymore. Not like before. I don't expect you to understand, I said, my voice calm but firm, but I don't need your forgiveness, and I don't need your regret. I've already moved on. I'm not angry anymore, but I'm not going to forget. I could feel the tension in my body. This was the moment I had been waiting for. It wasn't about revenge or anger anymore. It was about letting go, fully and completely. I was finally free of him, He didn't respond right away, and when he did, his voice cracked. Lena, please. I'm not the same person anymore. I almost laughed. Almost. I'm glad to hear that. But the person I knew is gone. And that's all that matters. There was a long pause, and then I heard him sigh. I don't deserve your forgiveness. No, you don't, I replied, my voice unwavering. But you do deserve to know that I'm okay. I'm better than okay. I'm stronger than I've ever been. The words felt like a weight lifted off my chest. The anger, the hurt, the betrayal, they all started to fade, leaving behind something more powerful. Something that was entirely mine. You thought you could destroy me, I said, but you didn't. You just made me stronger. I hung up before he could say anything else, standing there in the silence. For the first time, I felt free. This was my victory. I had faced him, faced everything he had done to me, and I had walked away, not broken, not bitter. I was whole again, and I was going to keep moving forward without him. I stood in front of my apartment door, keys in hand, just staring at it. I don't know why I was hesitating. Maybe it was because this door had seen me at my worst. The woman who cried herself to sleep, the one who spent days staring at the same four walls, heartbroken and lost. I took a deep breath, my grip tightening around the keys. Lena, I whispered to myself, it's time. I turned the key, pushed open the door, and stepped inside. The apartment felt different now. It was no longer a prison. It was mine. I had turned it into a place that felt like home again, a place where I could be myself, no longer overshadowed by the past, no longer weighed down by him. Hey, you okay? Mia's voice came from the kitchen, pulling me from my thoughts. She had been one of the few constants in my life lately, always there, always supporting me. I smiled, knowing she could see the change in me. Yeah, I'm fine, just thinking. Mia leaned against the doorframe, her eyes studying me. You're not still holding on to all that anger, are you? I paused. The anger. For so long, it had been my armor, my defense against the hurt. But I had been carrying it around for so long, it was starting to feel too heavy. I'm not angry anymore, I said quietly. I was. I wanted to make him regret everything. But I can't live like that. I can't carry it with me anymore. Mia's face softened. You've come a long way, Lena. I'm proud of you. Thanks, I said, taking a deep breath. I think I'm finally ready to let it go. I'm not going to let him or the past define me anymore. I thought about all the times I'd wished for revenge, wished for him to feel the way I had. But no, I didn't need that. I was better off without it. I was better off without him. I've spent so much time letting the anger consume me, Mia, but it's not worth it. I can't waste any more time on it. It's just not me anymore. I paused, glancing around the apartment. I'm moving forward. I'm starting fresh. And I'm not looking back. Mia smiled, walking over to give me a hug. You're doing great, Lena. You've got so much ahead of you. I held her tight, feeling a sense of peace that I hadn't felt in so long. For the first time, I wasn't haunted by the past. I wasn't looking over my shoulder. I had let go. And in letting go, I had found myself again. Yeah, I said softly, pulling away and looking at her. I really do. For the first time in a long while, I felt whole. I didn't need him. I didn't need anything that had dragged me down. I was enough, just as I was, and that was the best feeling in the world. I walked into the office, and it felt different. The energy in the air had shifted. It wasn't just the usual buzz of activity, it was something else. Something that had shifted in me. I wasn't just another employee anymore. I wasn't just getting by. I was thriving. Lena, you're a force to be reckoned with these days, Rachel said, her voice filled with admiration. She had been watching my transformation. They all had. I gave her a confident smile, a real one this time. Well, it's about time I started acting like it. She laughed, but there was something deeper in her gaze, respect. I could see it. People had started to notice. They had started to see me, the real me. I sat down at my desk and pulled up my laptop, the familiar feeling of control rushing over me. The projects that used to overwhelm me were now just another challenge I was more than ready to conquer. My fingers flew across the keyboard as I powered through work. Knowing that this was exactly where I was meant to be, a message popped up on my screen from Matt, my boss. Great work on the presentation, Lena. You've really stepped up lately. I sat back in my chair and smiled. This was the kind of recognition I used to dream about. But no, it wasn't enough. I wasn't doing this for anyone else. I was doing it for me. I could feel his eyes on me than his. The betrayer. He'd been coming around more often, trying to play the role of the victim. I couldn't help but notice the way he'd glance at me in the hallways, like he was waiting for me to show weakness, but I wasn't going to give him that satisfaction. Lena, I heard his voice from behind me, and I froze for a second. I hadn't expected him to approach me today. I turned in my chair slowly, meeting his gaze. He was different. His once confident demeanor had faded, replaced by uncertainty. The power dynamic had shifted. You're doing well, he said, his voice soft, almost pleading. I nodded. I am, thank you. I could feel the sense of control pulsing through me. I didn't need his validation anymore. I've learned a lot these past months, I continued. And I've learned that I don't need to let anyone, especially you, define my worth. His eyes flickered with regret. But it didn't matter. I didn't mean to hurt you, he muttered. But the words felt hollow. Doesn't matter, I said, my voice firm. You did. And it's done. I'm done with it. He opened his mouth to say something else, but I held up my hand, silencing him. I don't need your apologies. I don't need your pity. I've moved on. I stood up, gathering my things. The office, the people, everything was mine now. This was my victory. And I was just getting started. As I walked away, I could feel the weight of the past finally fall away. I wasn't the same person I was when I first met him. I was stronger, smarter, and more capable than I had ever been. And that was the sweetest victory. I couldn't stop watching him. It was strange. This man who had once been such a huge part of my life now seemed like a stranger, someone I barely recognized. He was sitting in the cafe across the street, his head down, his shoulders slumped in a way I hadn't seen before. I couldn't hear him, but I could see it, the weight of the world on his back. The empty coffee cup in front of him, untouched. His hands, once so sure, now shaking slightly as he held a crumpled piece of paper. I knew it. I could feel it. He was realizing what he had lost, what he had destroyed. I didn't even realize I was staring until Mia's voice broke through my thoughts. You've been watching him for a while now, haven't you? I glanced at her, a little surprised by how calm I was. Yeah, I can't help it. She followed my gaze, then looked back at me, a thoughtful expression on her face. You know, it's strange. He looks nothing like the man you used to talk about. He's not the same anymore. He's not, I agreed, my voice quieter now. I've been watching him fall apart. It's like everything he built is just crumbling around him. Mia didn't respond right away, but I could see the concern in her eyes. Are you satisfied seeing him like this? I paused, the question heavier than I expected. At first, I thought I would be. I thought it would feel good, but now, I don't know. It's just sad, you know? Mia tilted her head, understanding in her expression. You've come so far. You've rebuilt yourself. But seeing him like this, it's different than what you imagined, right? I nodded slowly. Yeah, I thought I'd feel some sense of justice, some triumph, but it doesn't feel like that. It's just emptiness. I watched him for another moment, the sadness etched across his face. He had been so sure of himself, so confident that nothing could touch him. And now he was nothing like the man I once knew. I don't think he realizes how much he hurt me, I said, almost to myself. But he knows. He knows he messed up. And that's the worst part. He can't take it back. Mia's voice was soft, but there was something gentle in it. Maybe he doesn't deserve your forgiveness, Lena, but I think he deserves to know that you're okay, that you've moved on. I looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't feel that bitterness. The anger had burned itself out a long time ago. All that was left was the truth that I didn't need him anymore. I'm fine, I said with certainty. I don't need him to apologize. I don't need him to regret anything. I'm stronger than that. Stronger than I was when he left. Mia nodded, her smile small but proud. You're right. You're better off without him. And you've proven it. You've taken back everything he tried to take from you. I watched him for a moment longer, my gaze steady. His life had unraveled, and I could see the weight of everything he'd done to me, now crushing him. But I wasn't angry. I didn't need him to feel this way to validate my journey. I'd already healed. And that was enough. I turned away, walking with Mia toward the street. I wasn't looking back anymore. The past was behind me, and everything I needed was ahead. I stood on the balcony, looking out over the city below. The lights were dazzling, a stark contrast to the dark thoughts that used to fill my mind. It felt like a lifetime ago that I was sitting in that same space, overwhelmed, broken, trying to pick up the pieces of a life that had shattered into 1,000 fragments. But now, I was whole, and stronger than I had ever been. You okay? Mia's voice broke through my thoughts, and I turned to find her standing in the doorway, her expression soft but knowing. I smiled, the weight of everything I had overcome settling in my chest like a gentle wave. Yeah, I'm more than okay. She stepped outside and leaned against the railing beside me. You've really come a long way. You know that, right? I nodded, looking out at the city again. I do. I think I've been so focused on moving forward. I didn't stop to think about how far I've come. We stood in silence for a moment, the sound of distant traffic and the rustling of the wind in the trees below filling the space between us. Do you ever think about him? Mia asked quietly. I thought about it for a second, but the answer came easily. Not really. I used to. I used to wonder if I'd ever get the closure I needed, but now, it doesn't matter. I've gotten everything I need from this journey. I don't need him to feel anything. I don't need him at all. Mia smiled, a proud glint in her eyes. You've taken back everything he tried to take from you, and more, I added, my voice steady. I'm not just surviving anymore, Mia. I'm thriving. I'm in control of my life now, and I'm not going to let anyone take that from me again. The air felt lighter as I said it, like the last remnants of doubt and fear had finally been swept away. I had fought hard for this, fought through pain and betrayal, and now I stood on the other side, stronger, more determined, and more powerful than I ever thought I could be. This is just the beginning, I said softly. My heart full. Mia's smile widened, and I could feel the truth of it in every fiber of my being. I had found my strength, and nothing could take that away from me. The story had come full circle, and I had won.